Hi there, that's right, great and glorious Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time. Hi there, how the heck's it going? Just a bit of an update video with a few other things thrown in. I went to the dentist this morning. Suddenly learned that I don't enjoy the dentist as much as I did when I was a kid. Oh God, I'm not going to go into that experience, but bloody hell, it's like, Either way, still very grateful we have an NHS service which provides us with the service at a reasonable price by comparison with the quantity of work that's actually involved. Although why they can't just rip all the bleeding things out and just give me a set of dentures and be done with it. I mean, that one, cut out the middleman, shorten the quantity of time that you're spending and all the money you're spending over the years, compress it, get it done at the age 36, okay? Then when I'm like 95, it doesn't matter, I'll still have all my own teeth, I can keep them in my pocket, and, done, dusted, no worries. I'm on my day 6 of being a non-smoker. Problem with being a non-smoker is, of course, the benefits. One of the benefits of being a non-smoker is your sense of smell comes back. So you can realize precisely how bad public transport really stinks, how bad your favorite pub really stinks, how bad your favorite part of the town really stinks. You get a better insight into the personal hygiene of your friends. You find yourself repulsed by other people who stink of tobacco smoke, but even though you, as it were, used to, obviously I'm still probably trying to get some of that stuff out of my system, the sense of smell is not something that you want to get back, especially if you take public transport. But on the other hand, the variety and the different varieties of stink that there are out there, it really starts coming. You get to understand. Went to a pretty enjoyable pagan event last night, and I think I might have got, as it were, a convert towards deist thinking. The fact of the matter is you can't be a convert towards deist thinking. Either you already think like a deist or you don't. It just that just seems to be the way it is. And I could be wrong in saying that. I probably am wrong in saying that. But on the other hand, once in a while, I'm doing a video, it's off cuff, there's no script or anything. You're going to come out or get the occasional badly thought out statement and or polemic on the way, so that's the way it's going to be. If I was actually planning this video, then essentially I'm sure you could probably say, well, he's coming out with logical fallacies and strawmans and the rest of it. You might want to do that anyway, but on the other hand, I'm not. I'm just talking. The thing that made me glad is that this particular lady got all the jewelry, got the straightened hair, got the gothic makeup, dedicated member of the Wiccan community. Actually, after a period of conversation, agreed with me that it was wrong to use the phrase "it works when dealing with supernatural subjects," and agreed with me that occultism is an experiential thing and is not necessarily something which is clear cut. And this made me feel very, very good, because that's essentially deist thinking put into practice within the, the set of weird shit that I tend to deal with. Trying to get someone who's more heavily into thinking in a certain way out of that way of thinking can be difficult. And getting more people to realize they are already deists, or they think in a deistic way already, is another kettle of fish. That's something which I think can actually be done, and trying to help people to see that they are allowed to have their freedom of thought, because even someone who is a genuine free thinker doesn't necessarily think that they should be allowed to have their freedom of thought and expression and all the rest of that. It's almost like there's a barrier inside of, well, I know this is what I think, but I'm not quite allowed to, And trying to help people to recognize that barrier is there is a challenge in its own right. And I think it's a challenge that people should be allowed to overcome. And that's on all sides of the spectrum, really. I do watch, a fair few atheist videos as well. Not that I am an atheist, okay, but I'm curious about their argument. And there's something strange about the way in which they look at the world, okay, which seems to imply that all experience isn't useful enough. despite the fact that we are experiential beings and our life is often defined by our experiences. But there's some interesting ways of looking at the world that they've come out with. But they've also got this like invisible wall inside them, you know, as in they think like I'm allowed to, as it were, believe in empirical scientific research. I'm not allowed to even think that there might be some other aspect to life, even though they might think that, okay, they might think that there's another aspect to living, or consciousness itself. But there's that invisible barrier, that barrier of dogma, which says like, I'm not allowed to even think beyond that, even to a certain degree. So, highlighting that it's there, being aware that the dogma that we absorb as part of the ideological battles which is occurring, through the TV shows that we watch, through the YouTube channels that we watch, through the things that we read. I mean, there isn't anything out there which is not in some way politically laden. I mean, even for crying out loud, my passport is riddled with politics on the cover. Just look at that thing. Just look at that. Everything is politics. Everything is there to express a message or change desire or change perception, or to provide that kind of like in-group, out-group mentality, to trying to create tribes of intent and action and identity throughout the world, and throughout all the people who are listening to the various different messages. So, avoiding truth and trying to create tribes, which is also intellectually flawed, whether it's coming from the atheist side of things, or the theist side of things, or the deist side of things, or the occultist side of things, or the New Age side of things, or the conservative side of things, or liberal and socialist and all the rest of that jazz. Okay, it's all irrational. Because it's going against thought, and it's going towards dogma, and creating those dogmatic boundaries, and creating those ideas about identity and belonging, and what we think is right, and what we believe to be right. I mean, take Nick Dutch, for crying out loud. I'm a tea-swigging, snuff-taking person who goes on about the weather. I mean, I've become this like stereotypical image of like an Englishman in the 1930s. Apart from the fact I'm not like a homeowner who's got like this, that, and the other, and I don't have some kind of like massive, respectable business manufacturing coat hangers or whatever. You know what I mean? But I've been living in this community for long enough for me to see that there are certain cultural norms which one can absorb in terms of, and also part of it is like your language, your accents, and everything else. All these things are part of this this irrational tribalization, which also affects your cognitive ability, your ability to understand and reason and break down ideas, and so on and so forth. It's been getting into a bit of a ramble and a rant, this little video, hasn't it? Well, wish me luck with my day 7 of being a devotee of the snuff tobacco. A couple of days ago it was hard. It was just like train spotting. I was like crawling around the floor, literally thinking there's got to be some tobacco around here somewhere, got to be some. I was opening and closing drawers which I'd already opened and closed before, trying to look out to see whether there was like even the smallest bit of smoking tobacco around anywhere. I didn't care whether it was a 10-year-old like cigarette butt that had just been left on there after some kind of like I don't know, party or something that the previous occupants of the flats might have had. I didn't care. I just wanted just some. You know, it was just total fucking train spotting. It was evil. Oh, and that's not even nicotine craving, because I'm getting more nicotine from my snuff than I ever did with my smoking. That's just the tar and the carbon monoxide, and having wonderful stuff blackening your circulation and your lungs and filling you up with like evil. Alright, that's not even the drug. Because I've got the drug, I've got lots of the drug, I just haven't got the carbon monoxide and the tar. Those are bad. Okay? I don't know if I can make it. I seriously don't know if I can make it. But I'm doing the best I can. I've got as far as 6 days. see how it goes.